fur hides. Now, oftentimes that Chilkoot Trail was called the Grease Trail because of all the grease they would trade on that trail. So the trail is 33 miles long, 4,500 feet of elevation gain out to Lake Bennett. Now, when the stampeders first arrived here, that's the trail they would use to get up and over the summit, the Chilkoot summit, to get up into the Klondike. Now, the gold wasn't found here in Skagway, as I mentioned. This gold was found 600 miles north of here, up in Dawson City. Now, right here off to the right-hand side is our incinerator. This is where most of our trash goes here in Skagway. And on top of that, we do have recycling here, and most of our recycling that we have will go up to Whitehorse because Skagway, well, as you can tell, it's a very small town. We've already driven out of the city limits. Hope you didn't blink and miss it. But yeah, if people like to do recycling, we'll take it up to Whitehorse. So, and it's a nice little trip. Whitehorse is where our nearest Walmart is. It's about 3 hours drive up to it. It's a little jaunt, pretty fun. All right, I'm going to take a pause here in the history for a second. I'll just point out the train right here off to the right-hand side. I think this is a gorgeous view. We're going to be coming up off to the right-hand side. There's Pitchfork Falls and the Goathead Lake pipeline. The other things. We've also got IHOP coming up here off to our left-hand side. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why is there an IHOP up here on the mountain? Well, that stands for International House of Passports. Customs office right here. We'll be passing through this later on. We are not in Canada yet. We will reach Canada in about 7 more miles. We're at mile marker 7 right now, and we will get to Canada at mile marker 14.7. Off to the right-hand side, you can see there's lots of waterfalls, lots of beautiful views. Just go ahead and be quiet for a minute, let you guys soak it in. Pitchfork Falls coming up here off to the right-hand side. So that pipeline right over there out to our right-hand side, that is how we power Skagway. So that pipeline comes all the way down from Goat Lake, all the way down to a little station where we have a hydroelectric generator. That hydroelectric generator powers the whole town of Skagway. Now, on top of that, little fun fact for you, the whole town of Skagway actually had power before the whole town of New York. Pretty shocking, isn't it? Welcome to my office, folks. Best views in town. Alright, so the question is, does the snow completely melt off during the summertime? And the answer to that is no. Throughout the whole summertime, we will keep snow on our peaks of the mountains. It's kind of crazy because sometimes in the blistering hot sun when it's about 80 degrees. I'm like, oh, it's so hot. There will still be snow up on the peaks of the mountains, and it is pretty resounding. I'm like, wow, the peaks are only, like, they'll reach up to about 5,000 feet above us, but still they will continue to hold snow throughout the whole year. So, and some of the peaks right across the Lynn Canal actually have glaciers on them. Once we get back down into town, I'll point those out to you. Yeah, so the question is, does the snow really get as tall as these markers? And yes, it does. Usually it doesn't get up to there in one go, but throughout the course of the winter time, the snow will get very high. So these markers are for the snow plows so that they know where the road's at. So that way they don't bash into the guardrails and fall down the cliff. I'm glad that's not my job. The other major use for this road there's really only two uses for this road. It's for tourism and for the tankers. And so the tankers, we have a big petrol marine facility down. We just passed it when we were picking it up from the dock. And that supplies oil and diesel to all of the Yukon and most of the Canada from the north of here. But it's very fun when I get stuck behind these big tankers. Down to the left-hand side. If you're scared of heights, I wouldn't recommend looking, but if you can handle it, you can see where the Skagway River is, and also you might be able to see a little bit of Bridal Veil Falls from this angle, but if not, you'll be able to see Bridal Veil Falls up here off to the left-hand side in just a moment. All around that. Side is Bridal Veil Falls. I'll slow down for it so you can see it. Picture if you want. Bridal Veil Falls. Alrighty folks, if you look off to your left hand side up on these trees, there's a lime green, kind of light green fungus hanging down from the tree stems. I'll point some more out to you. That was just a little bit up there that I saw, but that is called old man's beard. You guys learned about old man beard yet? No? Okay, so you can see some more right over here off to the right hand side on those trees. Well, old man beard is a crossover between an algae and a fungus. Now, it's pretty unique to Alaska. I mean, it's found in other places, but it's one of my favorite indicators because it indicates that the air is clean and that it's humid. So it will only grow in places where the air is super, super clean. So you won't find any of that in New York City or Salt Lake during the Great Salt Lake City during winter months, but I love it. It's just a great indicator that the air is super clean when we're breathing up here. Most of the land up here is untouched by humans, and I love that. All right, I'm gonna toot my own horn for a second, but one of my favorite forms of exercise is biking. And yesterday, I biked all the way up to where we're going to do our photo stop. Wow. It was about 26 miles round trip with 2,700 feet of elevation. So my legs are feeling a little bit like jello today, but it felt really nice. Right here off to the right-hand side is the William Moore Bridge, the suspension bridge. That was completed in the year 1979 to connect the Klondike Highway down to Skagway. But they retired it in 2019 when they completed this bridge that we are now driving on. Great view of some old man beard right here off to the left-hand side up there on the cliffside of the trees. All that lime green stuff that's growing on those trees, that is old man beard. It does not harm the trees, no. All right, we're pulling up here to our first photo stop. I'm gonna have you guys remain seated on the coach just for a minute. I'm gonna make sure the area is safe to get out at. I've heard that there has been some bears around, so I don't want any incidents today because I refuse to have any incidents on my tour because that's frankly just a lot of paperwork that I don't want to do. All right, and here at this photo stop, I'm happy to take a picture of you, for you, and maybe even